Mike Robinson, a reserved elderly gentleman, walks into a flashy car dealership. His modest appearance causes the staff to overlook and humiliate him, not realizing that he is not just any customer. The very next day, Mike returns, not to shop, but as the dealership's new owner. What unfolds is an astonishing chain of events as the arrogant salespeople are left stunned and scrambling to adjust. Mike seizes control and delivers a striking form of justice that no one could have anticipated. Far from ordinary, Mike Robinson was a man of immense wealth, earned through decades of shrewd investments and strategic business decisions. Despite being one of the wealthiest individuals in the state, his unassuming nature often led others to underestimate him, a mistake they would not make twice. Mike rarely displayed his wealth. He lived a modest life, drove an old but reliable car, and cherished quiet evenings at home over extravagant social events. This humility made him relatable, though few were aware of the true extent of his fortune. However, a particular incident was about to test his patience and drive him to take surprising action. One chilly afternoon, Mike decided it was time to replace his decade-old car, which, while still functional, had seen better days. Intrigued by one of the luxury models advertised by a local dealership, he decided to pay them a visit. Although he typically favored simplicity, Mike appreciated quality craftsmanship and looked forward to upgrading his vehicle. When he arrived at the dealership dressed in his usual worn-out jacket and scuffed shoes, he was met with a reaction that was anything but welcoming. The dealership buzzed with activity. Salespeople in sharp suits doted on younger, flashier customers. Engines roared from test drives, and the energy of a busy showroom filled the air. But Mike, in his humble attire, was barely given a second glance. Mike entered the showroom quietly, eager to explore the cars and find someone to assist him. He moved from one vehicle to another, admiring their sleek designs and polished finishes. However, after 15 minutes of browsing, no one had approached him. It was obvious that the staff had noticed him. Some even cast dismissive glances his way. But they continued to focus on customers who, judging by their appearance, seemed more likely to make a purchase. One salesman, a young man with slicked back hair, made brief eye contact with Mike but quickly turned away, choosing instead to attend to a well-dressed couple who had just walked through the doors. At first, Mike remained patient. He lingered by the luxury SUV he was interested in, running his hand along its flawless surface, waiting for someone to offer assistance. But as the moments ticked by, a deep sense of humiliation crept in. The whispers from the staff, the cold stares, and their outright dismissal stung more than he cared to admit. It wasn't just the lack of service. It was the sting of being judged solely on his modest appearance. To them, he was just an unremarkable old man who didn't seem to belong. As the minutes dragged on, Mike's patience began to wear thin. Finally, he approached the main desk, where 3 salesmen stood chatting, oblivious to the man they had been ignoring. "Excuse me," Mike said politely, stepping up to the counter. "I'm interested in purchasing one of your vehicles. Could someone assist me?" The man behind the desk barely looked at him before replying dismissively, "We're a bit busy at the moment. Why don't you come back later?" Mike's expression remained calm, but inside, something shifted. He gave a small nod and turned to leave, his heart weighed down by a mix of frustration and anger. As he exited the dealership, he overheard one of the salesmen chuckling quietly, muttering something about not wasting time on window shoppers. What the staff didn't realize was that Mike Robinson was far from an ordinary customer, and certainly not someone to be underestimated. The humiliation he experienced that day wasn't something he would easily forget. As he drove away in his old car, Mike made a silent decision. This wasn't over. That evening, he made a few phone calls to his influential contacts in the business world. By the next morning, Mike returned to the dealership, but this time he wasn't there as a customer. Overnight, he had secured enough leverage to purchase the entire car dealership. Mike had no intention of buying a car anymore. He wanted the entire operation. As he stepped out of his car and walked into the showroom, the same staff who had ignored him the previous day were present, completely unaware of who he truly was. The manager, Jake, A middle-aged man with a practiced smile approached him. "Good morning, sir. How can we assist you today?" he asked, his tone overly polite, still oblivious to what was about to unfold. Without a word, Mike handed Jake a set of documents. His expression was calm, yet firm. "I'm not here to buy a car," Mike said, watching Jake's face as he scanned the papers. "I'm here as your new boss." Jake's face drained of color as he processed the shocking revelation. His hands shook as he held the papers that confirmed Mike Robinson had purchased the dealership overnight. A murmur rippled through the showroom as the rest of the staff caught on. The once smug salespeople who had laughed at him and dismissed him the day before now stood in stunned silence, their confident demeanors replaced with unease and worry. Mike addressed the room with composure, though his voice carried an undeniable authority. "I came in yesterday hoping to buy a car," he began. "But instead of being treated with respect, I was ignored, dismissed, and judged solely on my appearance. You all made assumptions about me, and now it's time to face the consequences." Without knowing anything about who I am or what I'm capable of, Mike continued, his gaze steady, scanning the room. The staff exchanged nervous glances, their confident smiles from the previous day long gone. "As of today, I am the owner of this dealership," he declared firmly. "And things are about to change, starting with the people who work here." He turned to Jake, whose face was slick with sweat, his composure completely unraveled. "Jake, you're fired, and anyone else who treated me with the same level of disrespect will be gone as well." The room fell into stunned silence. The very man they had laughed at and ignored was now in charge, and he wasn't wasting time setting things right. One by one, Mike called out the names of employees he had observed the previous day. Those who had fostered the toxic culture of arrogance and disrespect were dismissed on the spot. Meanwhile, employees who had shown kindness and professionalism to others, regardless of their appearance, were spared and even promoted to leadership positions. By the end of the day, nearly half the staff was replaced with new hires who shared Mike's vision of respect and integrity. Under his leadership, the dealership transformed from a toxic environment into one where every customer, no matter their background, was treated with dignity. Mike had turned the operation on its head, proving the value of humility, fairness, and the power of unexpected leadership. In just a matter of hours, everything had changed. Word quickly spread about the new ownership, and the once dismissive, arrogant dealership had transformed into a place renowned for its excellent service and integrity. All of this was the result of one man's determination to make a point. As Mike walked out of the dealership, now fully under his control, he felt a sense of justice. He didn't need to flaunt his wealth or demand respect. He had earned it. In doing so, he taught the staff a powerful lesson about humility and kindness. The very people who had once judged him were now out of jobs, while the dealership flourished under his leadership. Mike Robinson was no ordinary man, and today, he had shown the world why. This is a story of humiliation, resilience, and unexpected revenge. How one man's modest appearance led others to underestimate him, only for him to not only buy the dealership that had ignored him, but to completely transform it into a place where every customer, regardless of their looks, is treated with respect. It's a powerful reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and you never know who might walk through your door. Do not forget to subscribe and push the like button. Your support can help us to bring more impactful stories.